Hello, Oracles. Ooh, feel like it's been a while since we've gone live on here. Sorry about that. Just life getting busy. It happens. How you guys been? I totally miss you guys. Obviously doing videos. I'm over on X a lot. For those of you guys who are not on X, and I know many of you are, I am finding that to be a platform that is much easier for me to get out all of my thoughts in the moment. Can't do that here on YouTube. It's just not the same. Like I can post it, but it's like, I don't know. It's not the same feel here on YouTube when I do that. So love this platform. Love how I have met all of you guys and the audience that I've had on here. So it's phenomenal, and I totally appreciate YouTube for all of that. But if you guys are looking for more like in the moment stuff, I'm going to be over on X a lot more. Some of you guys who are members and patrons, you guys also noticed today, and I will be doing it going forward. I'm going to be posting every morning all of my scheduled buys that I'm going to be doing for the day. Right now, it's just the ticker symbols. But if you guys want, as members and patrons, let me know. I'll put in there the amounts that I'm putting in. It's all fractional buys, so a lot of it's small. Like, SoFi is $1. So it may look like I may put SoFi out there and be like, ooh, how much you buying? It's like, it's $1. Honestly, it's not a lot, but I do over time show how this is growing. And I will get into my dividend growth as well, as to what I have been seeing as far as that goes and seeing all the progress I've been making. Very excited about that because I can now see on a spreadsheet and in a chart how I'm going to be able to bring in more money to be able to invest even more into Tesla stock later, which is huge for me. Poor Bald, hi Tim, can you discuss on the Tesla stock price expectations and the current dynamics? Yes, I will absolutely get into that. And for the extreme near term, what's going on, Lang? Yes, Sith Lord, what's going on? So in the extreme near term, and I'm talking like extreme, like the rest of this week, tomorrow we have Mercury retrograde. Some people believe in it, some people don't. I never thought it was anything. I had no idea until somebody pointed it out. And then I noticed that it goes in cycles of like, why is life so difficult right now? Come to find out, like almost every single time I feel that way, we're in Mercury retrograde. And ironically, tomorrow is also the beginning of Mercury retrograde and NVIDIA earnings. My thoughts about Tesla stock price. Now, we saw today. I'll bring up the charts really quick for you guys here and show you. Because, I was talking to Gort earlier, and you guys know me and my gaps. There's a gap that was created Monday morning over the weekend at 2:15. There was another one that was created this morning, and that one filled already. So let me pop up the charts here so you guys can see it. Let me get me off the screen here. All right. So we had this kind of like fake out breakout. So we kind of hesitated above this downward trend line thinking, oh, are we actually going to break out? And then we pulled way back into it, filled the gap that we had created this morning, and now we closed within the gap. So this might be a fake out breakout right here. And we kind of saw that this morning. Now we filled this gap. We have this gap down here, down to the 217. So looking at how it goes right in line here with the downward trend kind of leads me to believe we might fill this gap before we fill this one up above here. So my thoughts behind this are just this. We got the fake out today, came down. Tomorrow's earnings for NVIDIA might factor into this because it's going to move the market significantly one way or the other. I don't think it's going to remain flat. So I think tomorrow, if we end up getting something good, we could pop and officially break this trend and then go back up. Again, we've seen on the longer term charts, we are on an upward trend as well. So now it's at the point of, are we breaking the near-term downward trend, or are we going and continue on the long-term upward trend, or what? That's kind of where we're stuck at the moment. And tomorrow, I think we're going to get a lot of the information to determine which way we're going to go. Thursday, we get the Jackson Hole Symposium. This is where all the Fed members and financial experts from around the world get together and discuss things. And they're obviously going to be discussing inflation, interest rates, all of that stuff. So that factored into Tesla stock price last year could very well do it again this year. So let's see here. Yeah, Lang, I would love to have more information about the Cybertruck. It's coming. I mean, at this point, it's just like before. It's just a matter of time. They're going to announce, here's the delivery event. This is when we're going to have it. We'll hopefully get specs at the delivery event. Um, Truly don't know. It's just a waiting game at this point. What's going on, Alex? Andreas, you made it on. What is going on, my friend? Any more gaps to fill for Tesla? Yes, if it falls again. So we were just going over that. And so there's one other thing I wanted to go over in here. So I got the gap down here. So again, when it comes to NVIDIA, with NVIDIA, it might turn into a situation where maybe the market has priced in, we've seen a lot of companies coming out giving us expectations for the second half that, are good. They're giving us some very good guidance for the second half of the year, which was surprising. People thought we would see less guidance. We've also seen companies coming out with better than expected earnings. We've seen retail numbers doing well. So perhaps this is all priced into NVIDIA's earnings. So even if they beat, we might get a sell the news situation. So like my gut is telling me we're going to pull back tomorrow after the earnings, but I'm still hopeful that we don't. And quite honestly, I'm just at the point where I'm letting it be what it is. Obviously, we can't control the market. We don't know. I'm just going to adjust by investing accordingly and go from there. So truly tomorrow, I have no idea, but I have a feeling after hours tomorrow is going to be important. First time joining, well, welcome. We appreciate you having you on here. I wish they did the semi truck before. Oh yeah, I wish they did the semi before the truck. Yeah, this. I don't know. I don't know. The semi is good. The semi is going to be, I think, sort of for Tesla, almost like what Optimus is going to be, and Tesla will use a lot of their semi trucks for themselves first, do a lot of cost cutting because they're going to be doing their own transport. It's obviously going to cost less because it's an EV versus using diesel trucks. Once autonomy comes in, that's going to be huge when they can get it in there. Who knows, obviously, when that's actually going to happen. But I think it's going to happen first, and the Tesla will show how good it is. Obviously, Pepsi has theirs also, but I think Tesla is going to use them the majority, and then people are going to see how good it's treating Tesla and their bottom line. They're going to come on board. Optimus is going to be the same way. So I think that is going to be one of those sleeper slow growth situations. Melissa, you made it. How's it going? Yes, it has been a while for me too. So it's been, I think, over a week maybe since my last live stream. So how was your day? Day was good. Day was good. Power tool store. I actually work at a power tool store. You should have come to mine. I know it's a bit of a hike for you, but let me see. That gap that was just created gapped up to the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement perfectly. Alex, I've got to start bringing up the fib on here because you've been my fib knowledge, and I have never used the Fibonacci myself. So I'm going to have to take a look at the Fibonacci and start adding it to my charts because putting that together with gaps. So when it comes to the gaps, for those of you guys who are newer, what a gap is, and I'll bring the chart up here so you can see it, is when we open above or below where we closed the prior day. So we closed yesterday at about 231.46, opened today at 233. So we had this gap that was created this morning. So as you can see down here, I'll zoom in a little bit. So this gap here, we closed at 217.58 and we opened at 220.58. So we have that $3 gap that goes right here. 9 out of 10 times, those gaps do fill. Now, reasons behind it are, you can go all the way back to early days before computers were even being used. It comes down to market manipulators, money makers that are out there. Prices move, stock jumps for whatever reason. Maybe it's an earnings thing. A lot of times, most of the time, it's an earnings thing. And there's friends of these market makers who are like, oh man, I really wish I bought Tesla stock at this price. We had that gap. I really wish I bought it before the earnings. And they're like, you know what? That's fine. We'll bring it back down to that. And they manipulate the stock price back down to fill that gap. Now we have computers that are out here. So the algorithms do that all for us. But it's still a human going in there and saying, we got to bring it back down to this price. What can we do to make that happen? So that's the real simplified version of why it happens. But 9 out of 10 times gaps do fill. So the thing when it comes to gaps though is you never know how to time it. So like we had gaps that filled last year that were over a year old, and it can fill same day. Like today we saw the gap that was created this morning filled same day. Sometimes it could take a couple of weeks, couple of days, couple of months, couple of years. So it's one of those things to pay attention to. And there are a lot of gaps that have not been filled. But historically, gaps fill 9 out of 10 times. The timing of it is the hard part. But when you start to look at other things on the charts, like when you're looking at downward trends, when you look at the Fibonacci, that can kind of give you an inclination of timing and say, all right, well, we're on this downward trend. We saw this fake out breakout today. Tomorrow, if we fall back in and we stay in this downward trend, timing wise, I would say we're going to fill this gap down here before we fill this gap up here. Again, it's not a perfect system, not a perfect formula, but it's a basic guide that I've been using, and it's been relatively accurate. Gene, what is your price prediction for Tesla end of 2023? I will bring up my price targets for you guys. Now, the closer we get to the end of the year, the less accurate I like to say it's going to be. It's harder to predict because it's more. It could be macro. There's so many other things because like when you're looking long term as an investor, you look at trends and you're like, I'm trending. I think we're going to be going up. And a lot of people are like 10 years down the road. I have a price target of $3,300. Alexandra has one around $3,600. So you're looking at a lot of people around that same ballpark. So we know that we're going up and to the right. That's where you want to go. When it comes to near-term stuff, there's so much manipulation that goes into it. It's so hard to judge what the stock price is actually going to be. But like I said, I will bring up mine and show you anyway, because why not? Let me see. Base case price targets. And I'll bring up my dividend portfolio for you guys as well. All right. There we go. So base case price targets, and this is through, I'll get this off here. So this is through 2033. So end of this year, I have us slated at $275, a bit of an upside from here. Now my thoughts on this are, I don't know if we're going to go up significantly higher and pull down to the 275 level, or if we're going to be on our way up at that point. Or I could be entirely wrong altogether. I know I call myself the Oracle, but man, it's predicting stock prices is very difficult. Predicting trends is a lot easier, and that's what I like to invest in is trends. And looking at the trend, we are trending upward long term, and that's the most important thing for a long term investor. And one of the things that was brought up on X today was, near to what people conceive as long term. Just a reminder, 6 to 12 months in the investing world is not long term. 2 years, 3 years, still not long term. Yes, you can consider it long term gains if you've been holding a stock for over a year. But if you're truly investing long term, minimum, if you're going to put a time frame on it at all, 5 to 10 years. Otherwise, it's basically open ended. And it's very similar to health and fitness. If you're going to go out there and you're trying to lose weight, you can do a diet that's a short-term fix for your situation, or you can just learn proper nutrition and workout routine and make that your lifestyle, and that now becomes more successful in the long term. So when it comes to long-term investing, it's like a lifestyle versus a diet. Let's see. Post, yes, please do. And I'm going to try to figure out if on Webull I can get it up on there. I'm sure I can. I really don't have a lot of time to play around with it, but I should take some time. I'll try to see if I can squeeze in some time to at least get the fib up on there, because it's good to track along with it. And I don't like to have a lot of markings on my charts. That's just total madness. Just basic stuff is really all I need. What do you think about the Fed's meeting in September? Are we done with rate hikes? That's a great question. I thought we would be. Then we got the last CPI and PPI readings, and they're not the greatest. So they were forecast to be a little bit higher and they came in higher than forecast. So I think the September one is really going to be telling because if we get the information in September and it's at forecast, I think we're good with a pause. If we see it creeping up higher, maybe they raise rates and that shocks the market and really just tanks us. Because right now, the market is pricing in a pause all the way until Q2 of next year when we get our first rate cut. So if the market is pricing in a pause until a rate cut and we get a rate hike, that's going to be scary. And we did see Germany. I don't know if any of you guys are from Germany. I know some of you guys are over in Europe. Germany had massive decline in PPI of 6%, lowest they've seen in 100 years. Absolutely wild. So that is strong deflationary pressures coming. Obviously, it's taking that into account when it comes to Berlin and the Berlin factory. That could be lowering of COGS. That could help when it comes to the margins that Tesla has on their vehicles coming out of Berlin. Yes, it's still a small percentage of the vehicles that they are producing at the moment, but that's still going to grow over time significantly. So we'll see how that weighs on it when we get to Q3 earnings. Melissa, don't be mad at me, guys, but I sold a lot of my Tesla. The market has just got too bad. My profits paid for my son's apartment in the next 7 months. I'll get back in on the dips. Here's the thing. I'm not one of these guys who's out here saying, you can't sell Tesla. You got to buy, just buy everything. You guys are seeing that I'm buying dividends because if I'm anticipating an ugly economic time, having dividends, people go into value plays and dividend stocks and ETFs intentionally during difficult economic times because that's going to give you some sort of return. And I mentioned it on my video this morning and last night that when you have this cash flow coming in from dividends, when the market's down, how many times have you guys been upset with yourself that you have no dry powder? You have no cash available to go and make any purchases on any stocks, and you don't want to sell anything because everything you have is down. So you don't want to take a loss on something just to put it into something else. Makes no sense. So it's about cash flow. I've been talking about it for 2 years now. Cash flow is king. So having these dividend plays for myself now allows me to have that cash flow coming in to be able to take advantage of all of these opportunities. So if we get this massive dip in Tesla stock in the entire market that some people are anticipating, and I think we might see, then I'll have this cash flow coming in to buy even more shares. Having Melissa selling these shares, hey, she's doing what's best for her. Not a problem with that whatsoever. Literally, right before we got on here, I contemplated, I was like, what if I sold? And I'm not going to do it, but I was like, what if I sold all of my shares and put it into TSLY, got those dividends? How long would it take me to buy all of those shares back from the dividends that I got in? And, it's so hard to calculate because the dividends for TSLY fluctuate regularly. The price of Tesla stock itself is going to fluctuate. But when I'm looking at it, if it plays out in a scenario that I've got in my head, and let's say TSLY pays out an average of 50 cents per share as we go on, and Tesla does dip down into the 150 to, range lower than that, I would take me like 8 months to buy all of my shares back, and I would have a much lower cost basis and have cash flow on top of it coming in from TSLY. So that was just a little numbers game that I played with myself on that to see if it was worth it. I don't think so. I'm still just going to continue buying the way I have been, but just wanted to play with some numbers there to see, hey, what happens if? Let me see. Can you explain why every time TSLY pay out a dividend, its share price drops by the same amount? That's typically what happens with dividends. So when dividends pay out, it drops by that price. And honestly, somebody explained to me, and I'm not knowledgeable enough on it right now why it drops. Actually, let me Google it. Let me see if I can find out really quick an answer for you. Uh, let me see. Oh, because it dilutes it. That's why. So, because the stock dividend increases the number of shares outstanding while the value of the company remains stable, it dilutes the book value per share and the stock price is reduced accordingly. Okay, very basic, simple stuff there. So, that's all it is. So, it's just because just like when you have like the employee stock purchase plan for Tesla or any other company, when they issue those shares out, it dilutes the stock. This is why companies like Apple and many others do the buybacks, because it kind of cleans up some of that dilution in the stock, and that pushes the stock price up to kind of rebalance things off. So that's why it drops that share price. So that's why having dividend stocks that appreciate and have growth attached to them as well are so key, because they'll drop the amount of the dividend because of the dilution, but the growth will offset that very quickly and take it all back. So that's why right there. So obviously we've seen TSLY fluctuate up and down significantly. And for me, that's why I'm being a little more cautious with it, because I don't know if we're going to dip down further. My spreadsheet that I have, and I'll share my spreadsheet with you guys for dividends. And again, I'm going to do a full dividend video at the end of the month once it's all done. And I give all of my members and patrons, and if I ever get subscriptions over on X, I'll do it there as well. But let me see where we at here. So here is my, let me see if I can actually get it up here to show you. So looking at my dividends here, and this is all just broken out. But I, at the end here, put down what the total gain and loss is for each one, because getting the dividends is awesome. But if I have lost equity value in it, then does it even make sense? I think TSLY has been fluctuating with Tesla, and because I think Tesla is going to recover, TSLY will recover. Shouldn't be an issue unless for some reason it entirely collapses in TSLY and the whole YieldMax dividend fund collapses itself and has to go bankrupt. Unless that happens, we will see a recovery on this. But even though I've gotten $196.98 in dividend returns, because of the equity loss I have taken, I'm actually down $93.95 overall. So this is why I track that. And it's very important, because cash flow is awesome, but if you're in, yield traps, dividend yield traps are stocks and ETFs, typically ETFs, that people will be going into strictly for the yield on them, but they're continuously losing value. And over time, you're actually not getting anything from it. Sure, you're getting cash flow, it's coming in, but if you're reinvesting that money into a company that's losing money, you're not actually gaining any money. It's like, that raccoon gif that has, the raccoon's trying to wash off cotton candy. You put the cotton candy in the water and it's completely gone. It's really what a yield trap is. You're putting your money back into this water and it's just disappearing. And you don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure that you're in something that's at least trading sideways, or ideally you want to be in something that's going to be a growth, like SCHD, very good one that's growth. DGRO, also growth. DGRW, same thing. There's a lot of them that are growth ETFs that are also paying dividends. But that's why I track at the end, again, where am I actually at when it comes to the returns on all of this? So I want to make sure that I'm in ETFs and stocks that are going to actually net me gains at the end of the day. So how safe is TSLY? Again, I just went into that there. I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be safe. It's new, very hot. A lot of people like it because you get that very high yield. Nothing else out there yields that kind of dividend. Even when we paid out only 44 cents a share, that's still significantly more than anybody else really out there. So when it comes to the appreciation of it, again, it fluctuates with Tesla stock. So, I had some people tell me that they bought in at 13.28. Hey, it went up almost $1. So there you go. You've appreciated and you got the dividends that are going to be coming in from it. So to me, it's still very risky. I would say I'm taking a gamble on it. So it's still definitely very risky. And, the yield can be, who knows, whatever it can be. So I'm not banking on a lot of it, but what I am utilizing it for is kind of a speed, a jump start into my dividends in order to get, solid, I can't think of the word right now, but just solid continuous dividends coming in with very low volatility. It does take a lot of capital up front. It's capital intensive to bring in a sizable amount of income just from dividends alone. And not everybody obviously has a couple $1 million to just throw into the market to live off of dividends. So my whole theory behind this is have, kind of a diverse portfolio with a bunch of different ones. So I've got, and I'll show you guys on here. Um, so for instance, I put these in order on here of, I have a goal to $250 per month. And this is the goal of shares and this is the goal of dollars. And I put it all by dollar amount. So how many dollars do I need to put in to be able to accumulate and net $250 per month? Obviously, TSLY is going to be one of those ones that is going to be fluctuating. So, while it's $1,664 today, if it only pays out 40 cents next month, that's going to change to be $3,200 that I'm going to need to put in to be able to do it off of that. But again, maybe it goes back up to $1 and I need a lot less. Fluctuates. But because this gets me so much cash flow so quickly, I can snowball it. So my plan is to get this up to the $250 mark and then cut in half how much I'm putting into it, take the other half and put it into the next one. Let this one here kind of spool up. As soon as I hit to $500, I'll take the amount that I'm putting into it, put that into the next one, and just keep on snowballing it down the line. So the top 5 that I have here right now are ones that I do not plan on keeping for very long. The expense ratio on them, management fees, very expensive, very high. So it's not like it's crazy, it's 9.99%. So theoretically, every $10,000 that you put in, you get charged $100 at the end of the year. Not terrible, but still very high. So my plan is to get all of these to that $500 level. Then I'm really going to start loading up on the rest. I'm already obviously adding to all of the rest of these as it is, but this is where all of that money I have coming in from these will then start speeding up the process to get into all the rest of these. The highlighted ones are the ones that I want to have long term. And so it's a mix. So some of these are higher yield. They're not going to net me much growth. But down here, it's medium yield and high and medium growth. Then I've got higher growth and lower yield, but a lot safer and stable ETFs that I can get into in some stocks. So that's how I broke it down. And that's my whole plan. Again, this whole video I'm going to do later on, but I gave you guys the brief preview of it now. But again, as that snowballs down, that will allow me to be able to have that much more money. I can then go work, not at my job, and I could be at home and I'd be able to come and do more videos. I can do more of the things that I want to do. I could be on X a lot more, share a lot more of this information, dive more into this investing, go out and invest in real estate and other businesses and really grow myself. So that is my plan for the future. And I just want to speed up that process by adding to those higher yield ETFs. So back to your question, I think TSLY is safe, but definitely be cautious and pay attention to it month to month. Make sure it's doing what you want it to, and even if you get one low yield month, don't be too concerned by it. Just pay attention to what's going on, listen to the news, and I'll keep you guys posted on anything I find out. If for some reason I find out something drastically wrong is going on, I will sell out and I'll let you guys know as well. I don't have patience for 10 years. Hey, you know what? You've made it already, Melissa. So you do what's best for you. That's all that matters. Oh, you bought last month? And see, actually, this is the other thing too, is you bought last month, but when the dividends come in, if the stock price is down, it's going to lower your cost basis. So it's kind of a win-win. So you're going to lower your cost basis from the dividends getting paid out. You'll get more shares on it because the cost was lower as well. And so if the dividend payment goes up the following month, you're going to make even more money. And by it appreciating as well, you'll be even closer to getting back into the positive. Let me see. I am just starting 26 TSLY and 2 Tesla. Nice. Still learning and using TSLA to use to purchase more eventually. That's awesome, man. One of the things that I learned about when I started this channel was I think it was 4 shares of stock. That was it. And a lot of people gave me a lot of grief for it. But what I learned early on is this community is awesome. And it has not to do with how many shares you have, but just having shares, just learning, being hungry to learn more. So that's awesome. Learn everything you possibly can, learn everything you want about it. There's a lot of great sources out there. Definitely learn about the company. I highly recommend, if you want and can, build your own valuation model, because by doing that, you can actually see the finances yourself. There's so many people out there with great numbers. You don't have to. Following myself, I do it, but Like there's even better ones. Like Karav is on here. He does a great job. James Stevenson does a great job. Troy TSLA is great. Rob Maurer. There's so many awesome people out there to follow with all of these numbers, and give you all the information. So between here and X, you're going to find a plethora of all the information you could possibly want to know. Definitely don't sit yourself in an echo chamber. I like Gary Black because he understands and he speaks it from the Wall Street point of view. So when Tesla stock's not doing great, you're like, well, why? And Gary usually gives that. He's a bull, but he understands Wall Street. So I like to definitely understand both sides of the coin when it comes to things, and I don't like to sit in an echo chamber. But congratulations! I love to have you coming on board here and learning more about Tesla and the stock and the company. Problem here in Europe is mainly the war. Yeah, maybe that'll end sometime soon. Here in the U.S., we forgot about it. We have a new shiny toy to play with, so we're not too concerned about Europe and the war anymore. We just kind of talk about it once in a while when it fits our needs. That's just how the U.S. works. When is September Fed meeting on a rate hike cut? That the FOMC is September 21st. Let me see here. FOMC schedule. I think it's the 21st. Make sure this is the right year. 2023, September 19th and 20th. Yeah, September 19th and 20th is going to be the next FOMC meeting. And that's after the CPI, which I think CPI is the 12th and 13th. It's the CPI and PPI are the week before. Melissa, 10 years, anything can happen. I'm holding back on my income this year because of college. Looking at next year, taking all the gains I can. I did make 62,000 this year. Awesome. Selling stocks at highs. So if anybody's looking for some potential financial suggestions, go to Melissa for selling at the highs. She's doing a great job this year. And yeah, I've got my sons going to college next year as well. So that's one of the things that that I'm kind of factoring in is, just paying for that. Like I have no idea. He hasn't figured out where he wants to go yet. Don't know about what kind of packages he's going to get for deals, any scholarships, things like that. So yeah, it's I'm kind of sitting in limbo waiting to get that. Once I have that information ahead of me, then I can plan better for the future as far as investing, moving, and all that stuff. Yep, cash flow is king. That's why I sold a lot at the highs. I have more money now to buy. Yep, cash flow is king, sitting on cash piles. I look at Tesla. Look at Tesla themselves. They're sitting on a giant stockpile of cash. They've got themselves out of debt, and they have a whole ton of cash flow coming in. The absolute ideal situation you want to be in, especially during uncertain economic times. So that's where the company we all love the most is doing. If that's what they're doing, why would we not do it for ourselves? I think TSLY dividend gets destroyed in this fall, the past month. I mean, it might. Looking back at this year, the month that we saw that giant cut in dividends down to 44 cents was May, the May payout for the April month. And April was the only month that we really took a beating on this year. So with the beating we've taken so far, and it hasn't been horrible in August, but it hasn't been pretty either. So with the dip we've taken, which is basically the same percentage, we came down 25% in April. We came down 27% here in August. So depending on where we finish off, it might be about the same. So I'm guessing we're going to see payout of 45 to 50 cents for dividends. That's my guess based upon where we're at right now for the charts and how we've seen it go for the whole year. Melissa made a quick buck on TSL today too. So TSLL is another one that is a triple levered, that is extremely high leveraged ETF to get into for Tesla. It moves significantly more up and down than Tesla stock itself, 1.5 times. So be very cautious with it. If Tesla stock itself is too much of a roller coaster ride for you, do not get into TSLL. And if you are, do it for a short term. So again, like when you see a dip on it, if you see a dip on, like following the charts, we kind of saw a bounce coming between 200 and 214. Obviously, it came at 214. So those are the levels you're like, oh, TSLL, that's when I want to buy. I'm expecting a bounce off of this level. You buy that, follow that level up, take whatever profits you want, get out because you don't know what's going to happen after that. But you can make a quick penny or two. Good night, Andreas. YieldMax better start buying some shares. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing with the YieldMax ETFs is they're not actually buying or selling shares at all. It's all synthetic shares. So they're placing call options and put options on both ends, simulating the purchase of a share, but they're not actually doing it. And then they pay out the dividend based upon all the premiums that they make from all of that. So that is why they can do what they do. And yeah, so there's absolutely no shares for them to be buying back. So how many Cybertrucks have actually been in transit since we were seeing sightings? I actually don't know. I mean, obviously we've seen car carriers full of them. So how many are out there right now? I don't know, but obviously production is happening. So clearly production is going on. Um, I just don't know how many of these are like the true, or if these are just test production vehicles and they're just kind of pumping out a whole bunch of them. I don't know. And I don't know if anybody out there has actually counted them. That's a great question. Julio, you may have answered this already. Sorry, but what are your thoughts on Brad Ferguson's thoughts on TSLY? I answered the other day, but I didn't answer it today, so I will definitely go over it again. I think Brad is absolutely right, and Gort and I discussed it for the first half of this year as well. He ran the math on it, and when the stock is going up, you will make more money and you'll have a better portfolio growth by owning Tesla stock than you will from TSLY. Um, if you're looking for cash flow and you're not in a place where you want to sell any shares, because obviously, selling shares, you have to time it, then all this and that. So if you're looking for just cash flow, to me, TSLY is still the place to be. So I do both. I still own obviously Tesla stock and I keep on adding every day, but TSLY is bringing in that cash flow for me. When we're coming down, based upon Brad's calculations, the years that TSLY would have outperformed TSLA were on the down years. Last year was one of those years. So when you're looking at like a month to month situation, April TSLY would have outperformed TSLA strictly because you would have gotten the dividend payout. Perhaps August, maybe another one of those months. When you're looking at it over the long term, it is much better to be in TSLA. The reason I stay in TSLY is because I have limited cash coming in from my job, and I'm using TSLY to generate more of that cash to be able to purchase more TSLA in the future. Plus, if I'm anticipating a major pullback in the entire stock market, having shares of TSLY are going to pay off and offset that. It could be a very similar situation to what we saw in 2022. Maybe not as long of a period. Maybe it only is like 6 months versus 10 to 12 months. But that situation there could be the ideal situation to have TSLY to bring in that cash flow to purchase more TSLA as it's taking that beating. That's my thoughts on it. Obviously, we still have to see how that's all going to play out. That's how I am going to be playing it, and we'll see as time goes on how it goes. But Brad is absolutely correct. If you're just all about adding shares of Tesla and waiting for it to appreciate, going into the stock itself is the better way to go. Lang TSLY now 1410, lowest on August of 18th of 1321. I guess Best Buy is August 18th or now. When is it playing? The next monthly dividend is going to be paying on, and actually I have that on my spreadsheet as well. So TSLY, we have the next X date is September 8th and the payout date is September 18th. So based upon the strategy I did last month, you could do T+1. So they should be doing the declaration date, the day that they're going to tell us how much it's paying out should be on the 7th. And if you purchase it on the 7th, you will still get paid for those shares. So we have a couple of weeks before we get to that point, and I'll keep you guys posted as soon as we get closer as well. But the payout date is on the 18th. What do you think of Realty Income? Oh, I actually just started purchasing that. I've heard very good things about it. 26 years, they have gone up on their dividend every single year. So I am going to start. I started a position very small, only 2 shares right now, but I'm going to be adding $5 a week into that. And next week, I do have 2 CDs maturing. both for $5,000 each. I'm taking $5,000 of one of them and distributing it amongst a bunch of my dividend plays here. And O is going to be one of those. So again, heard very good things about it. So I will be definitely adding more to that. And so you guys have seen here now. This is a lot. Typically, I really wanted to get it down to just the yellows. 10 to 15 at the most is really all you need. I am super over diversified in what I am doing, and I'm doing it intentionally because it'll kind of give me an idea of which ones do I really want to be in, because QYLD and RYLD are very similar to JEPQ and JEPI, wherever JEPI is. Oh, there it is. So they're very, very similar. So for me, I'm just kind of feeling it out to be like, which one do I like better? How do I like it? And, if I like one better than the other, I'll transfer the funds out of one right into the other one. Neither of them move a lot. So it's very simple for the most part to just transfer all the funds from one to another. But that's why I'm doing it. It's more of like I like to, I'm that, I'm the kind of guy who's like, people can tell me what they like and they all get good feedback. So I'm like, all right, let me try it for myself. I'll like try it before I buy it. So I'm going to try them all out and see how it goes. How much tax are you paying on dividends in percent? So I just started really doing it this year, so I have to get with my accountant on that. But there's a lot of videos out there that break down all the taxes, and it depends on the different types of dividends that you have. Some get taxed as capital gains tax. Some get taxed as normal income. Capital gains tax, depending on what bracket you're in, could be 15 to 20%. Normal income could be up to 30 to 40%. So lots of different factors that go into it. Most of the ETFs and stocks I'm in right now are going to be taxed as normal income, because that's just the type of, and I apologize, I don't know the terminology on it yet. I'm still learning myself. I don't want to say it's unsecured. I can't remember what the terminology is. Either way, the ones I'm in right now are going to be taxed at the higher level. I do have in my IRA also. So the best place to do it is in a Roth 401k, Roth IRA, HSA account. Any tax-free account is the best place to do this, because you can keep on doing all the drip, getting all of that money. None of it's going to get taxed. Caveat from that is you can't utilize it until you're 59 and a half. That's for us in the US. Around the world, I know there's a lot of different options out there for you guys. So you have to take a look at your own in your area, in your country. But for the US, that's where it's at. So IRA for me, that's where I'm doing a lot of this as well. But what you guys saw on the spreadsheet, that's my main portfolio. So I will get taxed on that. And I'm going to be basing all of my income as if it's going to get taxed as normal income. I don't play the capital gains thing yet. I always try to play worst case scenario. So that's how I'm factoring it in right now, is as if I'm going to get taxed at the highest levels. Why are bank shares done badly recently? More downgrades by some. Yeah, banks are not looking pretty right now. Lots of downgrades on banks, especially going into potential economic difficulties. Just natural and normal what happens. But it could also be a good buying opportunity. So we'll take a look and see how we go. When interest rates go up, you would think that it would do well for banks, but less people are taking loans. And that is a bigger problem. Is less people taking loans means the banks have less inflows coming in, and higher percentage also means better chance of defaults on those loans as well, because they're paying so much. So it's one of those things where it's going to be more difficult on the banks, but as soon as the Fed pivots, banks will come more into favor. So that could be a good time to get into the banks in the next couple of months. Jerry, I'm hoping for a Tesla dip to get that TSLY down to $12-ish. Yeah. Then I'm dropping 20K more and getting a fat divvy. Yes. Sitting on 3,400, needs 6,000 to 7,000 for my fire to come Tesla crash. Yeah. So I'm looking at, where did I have it to? Let me bring the charts back up. Let me see. Where is it? Where did my charts go? There we go. So looking at TSLY, same thing here. There's a gap that goes down to 13 So it's weird. So we filled the gap that was down here, and then we created another one. So we have a gap down to 1346 on TSLY. There's a chance that we fill this gap. So again, we come down to fill this gap, and there are gaps below this. Gap down to 1259, gap down to 1195, and right there, that's the level that you're talking about, is at that gap. And again, I'm just going to keep adding, but if we do continue coming down, because this here on TSLY, that did not break trend, that held. And if this continues down, fills those gaps, again, I think it will come back up. I don't think it's going to be a question whether it does or not. I mean, we were definitely an oversold here, came back up. It trends with Tesla. And so if this comes down to a lower price, you dollar cost average into it, lower your cost basis, load up on even more shares. So when it comes back up, it will start paying higher dividends. You have more shares, you get paid more. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but that's how I'm playing it. Should we buy TSLY in the day it pays dividend for a cheaper share? Actually, that is what I've done. I did that last time around, anticipating it was going to drop. I mean, so last time we saw, hey, 83-cent share, you knew it was going to drop by 83 cents the next day. So not a bad idea to do that. Oh yes, it is live. Um, so it's not a bad idea to do that. That might be the lowest point of the month. That did not play out this month, of course. But for the rest of the year, I would have to go back and take a look at it. But I would bet that other than probably April, the day that the X date hit was the date that we saw it drop by that much. So that might not be a bad day to buy it. I'll wait until Friday when Uncle Jerome is in the house. Jerome will tank the markets to give all us a chance to buy cheap anything. Yeah. And again, that's how I think this week may play out. Again, tomorrow starts Mercury retrograde. We've got NVIDIA earnings. We've got Jackson Hole Symposium Thursday and Friday. It could be a very rough end to the week after the exciting start that we've had. So just buckle up, Buttercup. I feel like the market's going to be unstable until the next Fed meeting. It kind of feels like that every single month. It's like every time we get some sort of, we can breathe a sigh of relief and we're going to go up. Something else happens. We're like, oh, never mind. We're back in uncertainty territory. It's like it never ends. Raymond, I put in an order for a Cybertruck mid last year. What's my chance of delivery within 2 years? Nope, not going to happen. Had 200 shares of Tesla set aside for this purpose. Hopefully enough. Raymond, let's put it this way. I'm about 1.3 million in line, and I'm not anticipating getting mine until 2026. And I put mine in end of 2021 is when I put my reservation in. So, yeah, even if they pump out 250,000 a year, even if they put out 500,000 a year by 2025, it's not going to happen until 2026 for me. So yeah. I'm waiting for horrible NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. And that Jerome says inflation is bad, then we'll get a crash dreaming of. That's the mentality I have. I know a lot of people don't like that, but one of the things that I'm going to bring it up here because Peggy pointed it out in his tweet. Let me find Peggy's tweet here. If you guys don't follow Curious Peggy, highly recommend it. He's awesome. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to bring this up here. Let me see. So with Peggy here, stocks gains and losses. So there are only 2 years that Tesla was red. Now imagine if you bought during those 2 red years, what your portfolio would look like. If those are the only 2 years that you purchased were the times of the most pain, think about how you would have done. Yeah, you'd be very happy with how you've done. So when you're looking at times that are uncertain, times that are scary, those are the times I want to buy. Yep, I love it. Melissa, most people don't get the gifts Jerome gives us. It's so obvious. Same when Elon speaks, both give us discounts. You're right. This is one of the things that so many of us talk about regularly is, people are out here and they complain, the stock is at $300 and they're like, oh, I want to buy it now. It's awesome. It's a great buy at $300. And then the stock falls down to $200 and they're like, oh, I don't want to buy anymore. I'm so afraid. Like, dude, why was it okay for you to buy at 300 but not 200? It's like if you went out and saw, hey, you know what? A Tesla, the Model Y that I wanted to buy is now $15,000 off. Would you be upset that you were going to pay $15,000 less for your Model Y? Hell no. You'd be excited. You'd be like, damn, I wish I could buy two of these. Yeah, that's how people should be treating TSLA. Just saying. What happens when those shares TSLY sold put options on gets put on them? That's been a fear of mine, unless they're selling, then buying too close. So they always play in the money. But that is so if they do end up having to get the shares, as far as I know, they use those on the other end for their calls. And I imagine they liquidate them. That's just my thought. I believe they liquidate them, but I think that's part of the reason why they end up paying out less, because they have to liquidate it. And because they're liquidating it, they don't make as much money on it. And because of that, the dividend payout is less, very similar to what we saw in April and May. So I think that's why it ends up playing out that way. So yes, that's a fear. But again, as it's coming down, they get the puts, they liquidate those shares and move on from there. Yep, 215 is the floor as of today, unless Tesla messes up. Jerome says something. Yeah, that's it. I was thinking 200. 215 I knew was a strong level. I thought we'd break it, but we didn't. But continuing down, this could just be a little bit of a blip on the radar in the near term, and we may continue down to break past that 215 and hit that $200 level. Again, I think you're right. I think it has a lot to do with NVIDIA earnings and Jerome this week. What's with VinFast? It went over for 100% today, quarter market cap of Tesla. Yeah. You know what? That had a massive crash earlier. Let me bring up the charts on it quickly. Let me see. Yeah, that had a huge. I don't know if there was news about them, but they wow, it jumped all the way to 46.98. I'll bring it up on the charts. I'll show you guys. Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, jumped all the way to 46.98 on the day today. So massive, massive jump, over 108% up. Again, I don't know what happened specifically, but I know that they had this massive crash coming down. So they may have just been recovering from that. I mean, if anybody was in on that, that's awesome. Like if you were in down here, buying in at that $12 level, just last week, and then this giant jump back up, good for you. Yeah, that's like I saw it happen and I was like, do I buy in? Do I not? I'm like, I was in the gambling mood. So lying. Yep. September 7th buying can get a dividend. I should keep in mind. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'll keep you guys posted as to when we're getting closer to the dates. Yes. Closing in on 2 million views. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Getting very close. I was noticing that the other day that I'm getting pretty darn close to 2 million views. Very exciting. Very, very grateful for all of you guys. Let me see, unearned income, but gets taxed as your regular income. You fill your brackets as you would your regular income, exactly, based on total income. So that's why a big reason for me is like I'm not looking to completely match my income right now before I step away from my job, because I can step away with less, lowering my bracket, and still being able to take home the same amount. And that's just numbers I need to play with to figure it out for myself. So. Yes. Uh, don't worry, government takes their cut no matter if you wait or not, unless you make like 400K a year. I wouldn't worry about tax. Yeah, yeah, that was it too. Is that I think it's like 420. Ironically, I think it's like 420,000 if you make over that. Um, then you go to a totally different tax bracket. But if you're making over $420,000 a year, like good for you. Like that's like, it sucks having that much money taken away from you because you've made that much, but you're still making that much. What's going on, Bobby? Yeah, specs for VinFast or EV are worse than BYD, yet cost a lot more. A lot of these stocks are manipulated intentionally to make some quick bucks and get in and get out. The people who manipulate it make the money. The people who don't manipulate it lose the money. So that's why I don't usually play on those gambles. 1.3 million. So you're saying there's a chance? There's a chance. I'll get it eventually. I have a feeling they're going to announce the van, and I'll put in for the van right away, and I might get the van before I get the Cybertruck. Who knows? Thoughts on TTOO? I actually don't know TTOO. Let me take a look. TTOO. Biosystems. Huh. It's been on a nice upward trend. I'll bring up the chart here for you. That's a 48-cent stock. I'm not a huge fan of stocks under $1. I do have a couple like Beachbody, but I was in that and I'm a Beachbody coach, so that's why I'm in it. So not to say it's bad. I mean, sometimes you can get these that take off and you can buy a lot of shares for under $1 and then they take off and you can make a good penny. Sometimes on these here, you play a percentage game. So instead of looking at it for a long-term play, you say, hey, you know what? There's a chance this thing might pop. Maybe it's like a meme stock type pop. Maybe we shoot from 48 cents up to $5 and we do a nice little 10x on this thing. You get a quick 10x, you take your money and get out. Again, that's a very risky gamble play. And without looking at information and details on it, just looking at the chart, it looks like it's been going up nice. Got a little bit of a gap here. No, the gap was filled, so it's not terrible. So it looks like it's on kind of an upward trend here, a little sloppy, but I don't know. Could be worthwhile. Looks like it may be starting to form a wedge pattern here. So looking at it's making lower highs and higher lows, that typically means you're getting into a wedge pattern. And that wedge pattern means that you're going to be hitting a breakout or a breakdown. So may still have some time on that before it happens, maybe end of the month. So just paying attention to that one there. Not something I would get into myself. I would have to do a lot more research on the financials behind it before I decided to get into that. Yeah, Peggy and Farzad. Man, I've had them both on my channel. Love both of those guys. They're phenomenal. Let's see. Apparently, Elon is depressed and is taking ketamine for his depression. I'm a medic, so I am pro to this medication's responsible use. I was hoping this news dropped us. Damn open-minded TSLA investors. Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that about Elon. I mean, I can imagine somebody. A lot of times you see people with almost this genius type mentality who have that, and it's just because they push themselves so hard and strive for so much work. It happens. So I can definitely see that happening. I mean, I get it myself. I'm clearly not anywhere near Elon's level, but just that type of mental state is just constantly trying to improve. And if you don't feel yourself moving forward and making progress, it hurts. And it's depressing because you're not moving forward. I appreciate your channel and candor. Thank you. I appreciate that. When I see that you are on, I try to make it. Thanks again. You're most welcome. I appreciate that, Juniper. I love your name, Juniper Blueberry. That's awesome. I love that. Yes, make sure to like and subscribe, everyone. Saved him from his current employer. Please, please, for the love of Pete. My goodness. And again, like I don't ever like to speak poorly of anyone. My job is the company I've been with longer than any other company. They've done a lot of good for me as well. I'm at the end and ready to move on to bigger and better things that are my purpose in life. And I want to get onto that. And so, and any support. So for you guys who don't know, members and patrons, and when I finally get subscriptions on X for $1 a month, I don't like to charge people again. I would rather you guys put your money into your own investments. So I'm not about taking money from you guys, but I do have, again, my weekly spreadsheets that I put out, my income, investments, and expenses. I put those out there because that's how I show you guys what I'm doing with my money. And I put I put it out there. I'm totally transparent with all of it. So I show you guys what I am doing with my money, my dividend portfolio. I update weekly, my full entire stock portfolio. I update weekly for everybody over there. I have a whole millionaire status where I track all of my net worth to show how that's growing. All of that I put out every single week for $1 a month. I share that with everyone over there, members, patrons. And then for anybody, there's another level $4, and there's more Tesla information. So I'll put my price targets out for everybody for $1 a month. If you want to pay a little bit more, I put out my production forecasts and my entire valuation model. Either way, I do share all of that stuff for free on this channel at the end of every month. But if you guys want it on a weekly basis, or you just want to, help contribute to me, that'd be awesome. Again, $1. Yes, Melissa, Beachbody is under $1. I know. It took a beating, and it might get delisted off the NASDAQ. I think it's on the NASDAQ or the hold on a second. Let me see here. Why? It's on the New York Stock Exchange. So yeah, it's been taking a total beating, bloodbath. So I don't know if they're going to end up having to do a reverse split on it. I'll show you here. So I don't know if they're going to have to do a reverse split. Like, it just hasn't been pretty. But again, I only own 130 shares. It cost me almost nothing. But hey, I like the company. I'm a coach. I love what they do. They did do a good job and beat earnings last quarter. So we'll see. I'll track it moving forward, but that's where I'm at. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, there's the man, Peggy. What's going on, bud? And I gotta have Peggy now that he's back on this side of the ocean, on this side of the globe. I'll try to get Peggy on here. I know he jammed his schedule full of so much stuff with so many awesome people. Alexandra and Farzad. Oh man, Peggy's been on fire, like testing out every single Tesla model that exists. If you guys don't follow him over on X, definitely do. Oh man, he's a posting champion. What is more likely first, Starship landing on the moon or Tesla 2x all-time high? Ooh, that's a good question. I think Tesla. When are they scheduled to do that Starship to the moon? I think Tesla 2x all-time high, because that's $825. I think that'll happen before we get Starship to the moon, because I think based upon my price targets, let's see where mine. Let me see here. Based upon my price targets, where did I have them? I put them. Where did they go? Hold on. I got to go find my price targets. I don't know where they went. Let's find price targets. There we go. Now we got them. So based upon my price targets, 825 would be happening 2026. So again, obviously not guaranteed, but do we think that the Starship is going to land on the moon before 2026? That is your question. Oh, send the link, join for a quick 10 minutes. If that's still open, Peggy, let me. Oh man, I don't even know if I can do that here. Oh, here we go. Hold on, folks. This might be happening right now. We might be making this happen. Let's do this. Look at me learning how to do stuff. There you go, Peggy. I got it over to you. Oh, Juniper Bluebird's your dog. That is an adorable dog. Australian Shepherd. Oh my god, I want an Australian Shepherd so bad. That is like, my son keeps telling me I need to get a dog, and I just can't have one where I live right now. But that is on my list of border collie or something. Yeah, Australian Shepherds. I love their demeanor. Such a smart dog too. I love them. Tim's the man, so honest, only out to help us. Thank you, Melissa. I truly am. I really just, again, I don't give out financial advice. I just try to share my wisdom and stuff that I've learned with you guys. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Juniper. I appreciate that. I'll see if Peggy can hop on. Peggy, I sent you the link if you're still hanging out. Yeah, Bobby, I can't believe how many followers you have now. I've been watching since Bobby did you proud of you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, we just hit 13,800 subscribers on this channel. That's awesome. So close to getting to 14,000. So close to 2 million views. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Love your channel. Just let us know what your current schedule is for lives. Yes. Don't miss it. Yes, I know. I have to constantly text Melissa to let her know when I'm doing a live stream so she knows. Let's see. What do you think about using TSLY dividends in a Roth to purchase Tesla when down and just sell? Yeah. Here we go.
Yo!
What's going on, Reggie?
Yo, what's going on? What's happening, guys?
Not much.
How you doing, Tim? How's everything?
Good.
Oh, yeah, I saw you live, and I'm just like, you know what? I got nothing to do. Let's just pop on here for like 5-10 minutes, see what's happening, you know?
So how are these vehicles that you drove? Tell us your experience with these Teslas that you drove.
Oh, man, which one do you want first? I drove the Y3 and just recently the X. Which one do you want to know the first? Which one do you want to know?
Tell us in order and tell us what was your favorite one to drive. Tell us all of
it. Oh man. Okay. Best one. Obviously, the X takes the cake for all of them. I mean, that thing is a class on its own. Like when I gave back the Y, I'm like, yeah, I'm sad, but you know, it wasn't the perfect, car. The suspension wasn't the greatest. Yes, there was a lot of space, but yeah, it was a good car. I like the 3 better than the Y. I don't know. The 3 of them, like, whoa, the 3s. I'm actually digging the 3, but the X, man, that thing is over-engineered, next level. Man, every little space, every little tiny bit of this car, there's something with it. It's ridiculous. That I was extremely sad giving it back, and I gave it back this morning, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't want
to. So did you have was it the plaid version or just the regular?
I don't know. It wasn't. Well, the thing is, the guy that I rented out this from, he had it on Toro. And so what he did is that he put a speed limit and he had some restrictions on the car, so I couldn't really experience the plaid, you would say. I mean,
okay.
It was called Insane, so I don't think it was a plaid, but it was comfort. No, sorry, it was chill, sport, and insane. I couldn't experience sport or insane because they had them blocked, and he wouldn't open it. I'm like, okay, fine, I get it. It's a $200,000 car. If something happens to it, I get it. Okay, I get it. But yeah, but overall, I mean, the thing picks up fast. It's crazy. Even in chill mode, slamming it down, just like just a massive car. Imagine just a massive car just zooming by. It's pretty terrifying. But
I had that. I was at a light the other day, and there was a Tesla. This one car was in the middle lane, kind of like moving around, and you could tell that they didn't know where they were going. And there was a Model Y, one vehicle over from them, one lane over, and they needed to go over 2 lanes to get to where I needed to, and they only had about 100 yards to do it. And as soon as that light turned green, boom, they were gone. I was like, oh man, I missed that. Oh.
Yeah, they pick up so fast. I had this one guy in a Mustang. He pulls up next to me, and I'm just like, you don't want any of this, man. And then he tries to go for it, and I'm on chill mode, and I smoke him, and I'm just like, this is something very embarrassing for this guy.
Like I wasn't even trying, and my mom mobile just smoked you, buddy.
It was just the funniest thing on the planet. No, but honestly, the X is a whole new level. If you can try to like just get a test drive or rent it out for a day, you would. The amount of things that this car can do is just ridiculous. It's like the thing, you press the button to open the door, it opens it up for you, and then you put your foot on the brake, it closes all the doors for you, and then you got the Falcon wings. Don't even get me started on those.
Oh yeah, just the technology. Just driving my buddy's Model Y. The technology in the vehicles is so far beyond what most people even know exists. It's crazy. Ridiculous. So are you going to try a Model S while you're home too?
Well, I tried it last year, and so I would say the Model S is like I wouldn't say it's like the Model X. It's definitely not. The technology, the tech that the Model X has, the Model S does not have. And they were both 2022 versions that I've tried. So you can think of the Model S as like it's like the Model 3 on steroids times 5.
Okay.
That's what the Model S is. But the Model X is like not even, you can't really compare it to the Model Y because it's just so different and it's just so over engineered. It's just, they made this car so special that now I know what Boomer Mama means when they say that it's my car. Like I'm not giving this car to anybody else.
Oh yeah.
I totally understand why she's saying that because it's such a special car.
And then think about the fact that the X is like that. What's the Cybertruck going to be like?
Oh my God. Oh, that's, I don't know. That's, man, I can only imagine, dude. I can only imagine what the Cybertruck is going to be. Yeah.
I mean that's going to be nuts. And obviously we've seen tons of them out there. I cannot wait till the delivery day and see
Yeah.
these things actually getting out in the wild.
So wait, you have the Model Y pre-order. I would say, you know what, just hold on to the Cybertruck.
Yeah, well, so
You know?
where I'm at now is my Model Y reservation actually got canceled.
Oh,
So
okay.
I didn't realize it got canceled, but I wasn't planning on getting it. I'm waiting till next year. I mean, I'll see what happens. Maybe I get the Model 3 if I don't want to wait. Maybe I just hold off. I don't need a car. Maybe I just keep on putting my money into the stock and other areas to get myself more money to buy one. Don't know.
Yeah.
But that's, I'm kind of in a waiting game right now, but yeah, it's just nice to have options for next year for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hey Chris, how you doing? No, definitely. If I were you, dude, I mean, the Model Y is a very nice car, but personally, man, um, I don't know. I think out of the all four ranges, for me, I know it's gonna sound shocking. The Model Y, I put it last place. I know. Don't hate on me in the comments or in the live chat. Don't hate on me.
That's right. There's plenty of other people who are going to buy it. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, the Model Y is nice, but it's I don't know. There's something about it. I prefer the three. I would say if I were to buy a Tesla today, it's gonna be the three, the Model 3. The Model X is when Tesla 20Xs, and then I can probably get a Model X, but because it's just so darn expensive.
See, and for me too, like I like the SUV style. When I go hiking and stuff, but then I thought about it when it comes to the Model 3, you've got the frunk. You have the space.
Yeah.
Like you would have in a normal ICE SUV, you have that space. So it's just me, maybe my kid. I don't have like a giant family group of people. So Model 3 might actually make more sense for me.
Yeah. The Model 3, honestly, dude. It's the thing about the Model Y. Here's the thing: inside of the car of the Model Y, it's not as maybe the guy had it tinted. Maybe that's why. But I found the Model 3 to be a lot more um, not spacious, but a lot more open for some reason. I don't know. And it felt so much better to drive the Model 3 than the Y. I just loved. For me, I extended the Model 3 because I just loved it. Like I extended like 2-3 days extra because I loved it. But the Model Y, I just gave it back the same day. I was sad. I mean, it was a fantastic car, fast car, very awesome. But I wasn't as sad when I gave back the Model 3 or the S. Oh my God, when I gave back the S, I was extremely sad. But yeah, yes, I was extremely sad. I remember I was so sad. Kind of the same feeling with the X. Exact same feeling with the X, but the X was a little bit more. I'm just like, man, I can go. Man, this car is just something else. This thing was like 600 kilometers per charge. It was ridiculous. I'm like, whoa, 600 kilometers. I went from the Canada's Wonderland to Barrie, to Collingwood, back to Barrie, all the way back to Toronto, which is about 500 kilometers, all in one charge.
Wow.
I didn't even have to charge. Like, it was ridiculous. I'm just like, range anxiety is an excuse.
Oh, I know.
Range anxiety is an excuse. Everybody shouldn't be afraid of, driving EVs. There's superchargers everywhere. And the one that I went to the fastest ones, obviously. 20 minutes and you're good to go. I'm like, gee, this is amazing. And
Yeah, that's the big thing too. And like my buddy said, he goes, you typically don't want to put it to 100% charge anyway. So if you're shooting up to 80 to 85%, 20 minutes and you're done. And sure, it's not as quick as pumping gas. I get it. However, it's going to get faster. It's going to improve. You're not going to improve the speed of which you pump gas ever. You're just going to, lose more money by pumping gas.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're working on the version 4 supercharger. So that's a huge moment right there. So I can only imagine how fast that's going to be.
Oh, I know. And for me, right down the road from me, as long as I'm still living here, they're going to have the new delivery center coming into Mohegan Sun by the casino. It's the way there was. So Connecticut will not allow Tesla to come in with a delivery center in the state because they've got the dealership laws.
Mhm.
But the casino is on Indian reservation land. So they snuck their way into the state that way. It's awesome.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I might go down there and see if they have any test drives that I can do on any of their vehicles. Maybe I'll take the 3 around because I've driven the Y before and I love it. But maybe I'll test the 3 out as well.
Yeah, I know. Personally, for me, I've always liked smaller, compact cars. Maybe that's why I like the 3 more than the Y. But I don't know how I would explain the X because the X is like twice the bit size of the Y, and I loved it. That was something else.
And the fact that it can go as fast as it does with
Dude,
that size is insane.
dude. So you got the S Plaid, that's the most fastest. Then you got the X Plaid, which is the second fastest.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it's ridiculous.
Like when Tesla does fun commercials, like I love the fact that doing the advertising, but if they ever do a fun commercial, they've got to do something like, oh, when you've got to get little Susie to dance practice at 6 and little Johnny to soccer practice at 6:10 across town, get in your Model X. Just punch it across town.
Oh boy. Oh my God. Yeah, no, the Model X is I mean, honestly, if you can test drive a Model X, do it. It's something else. Like test driving is one thing, but then finding the quirks around the car, like just as simple as the door opening by itself
Oh,
with a
yeah.
press of a button, it's like, oh my God, this is the next level of luxury. I'm putting the X in like a luxury brand. I know, like they say that, oh, Tesla are luxurious. Most of them are not. The 3 and the Y are not. Even the S to a level, it's not. But the X, I argue that this one is luxurious. The things that have, like, it's just the wings, the door wings. I mean, do
Oh,
you
yeah.
need to have that? I mean, that's luxury. So yeah, it's the door opening by itself, and then it's just, yeah, that thing was just like, this car's my own valet, and then all I need to do is have this thing on FSD, and that's it. It's a chauffeur. I don't need anyone.
Oh, I know. Like, and I mean, for me, I've got the most base model Honda CRV that you can get. So me getting into the Y was like, wow, this is like 10 steps up
Mm,
in technology. Like just the things that it had were unbelievable. Like the fact that, I mean, just the basic stuff that all the Teslas have, like you can set it and it knows when you're going to be typically getting into it for work. So if you park outside, it just knows, hey, you know what? Maybe I should warm the car up, or I'll get your seat wherever your seating is. As soon as it senses that you're close to the vehicle, it will move your seat to where it should be. It changes the temperature to what it knows you like. Like all that small stuff that just doesn't exist
amazing.
anywhere else. And that's just basic Tesla tech.
And that's basic. That's the thing. It's basic. The X has something else. It's other things. I mean, just the windshield alone, man. It's like from the front all the way to the back, like it's like
Oh,
just
yeah.
bright as day inside. You gotta wear sunscreen. You gotta wear sunscreen, or else you're gonna get burned. That's a warning right now.
But that's like that, and another reason why I like the Y also is, that full glass roof. For when you're going out camping, I mean, you could just lay in your vehicle. It
Oh yeah.
is your own place to stay. It's
Oh
phenomenal.
yeah. Oh yeah. And it's so spacious, dude. Like you like man, it's so spacious. You can put like your whole entire room in there, and you'll still have space. It's up down. I'll have a video posted tomorrow. It's just ridiculous how much this thing has space. It's just, yeah, it's something else. It's
It could become your whole new YouTube studio just inside there.
honestly, you could just get one and just live in it, and you'll be fine. You
That's
know, like,
I've contemplated it. I have. It's
oh
thought.
god, yeah, it's like a mini house, man. It's huge, and the thing is, the X is like, it's like huge. Like here's the Mitsubishi that I drive. Right, here's the one
Yeah.
that I always like, roast on. The X is like times two this.
Wow.
It's times two this. It's wide. It's huge. It takes a whole freaking parking spot. Like, when you park in a parking, like in Walmart's parking lot or whatever, you take one spot. It takes the whole freaking square. It takes the whole thing. And this thing's huge. But because you got the 6 sensors around, no, you don't feel it. You feel like you're driving a small car. And that's what I love about Tesla a lot. They make the cars long, wide, but it doesn't feel like it. You can own the road, you know where to go, and yeah. Next car is definitely a Tesla. Whether it's here, whether it's Kuwait, man, it's a Tesla, dude. It's
And the wild thing is when you go out to California, which obviously that's the, number one place that Teslas are selling, the parking spaces there are a lot smaller. it's tight because there's so many people there. So then you think about an X parking in those tight spaces, and that's why they have that's why they have the doors that they do, the falcon wing doors, so they go straight
Yeah.
up. So you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because that at some parts when I did park, it was so tight. But the fucking doors, they helped a lot. They helped a lot.
Oh
Because the
yeah.
front doors was like a little bit like, oh crap, just squeeze in. But the fucking doors were very very useful in that case.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, man, dude, it's you gotta try it out. You have to try out. Like right now, I've tried all the models now. The S3, X, and Y. I've tried them all. I think yeah, the X wins the crown. I would say second place is the S, then it's the 3, and then the Y for me. I know most people it's the other way around. They take the Y as the first, but for me, Y is the last. Uh,
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, like if you had, the money to buy whichever one you wanted, obviously the X or the S would be the top two choices. Like,
of
why
course,
would you pick a Y or a 3
yeah,
if you could easily afford an X or an S?
that's
So,
true. That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, I just don't know how you would, and I don't know how much it would cost. Like, let's say you have the Model X, the massive windshield. If you want to repair that, I really don't know how much that's going to cost you.
look, if you can afford the X in the first place, you can afford
Yeah,
to replace the windshield.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, the other thing that I loved about it when I was going, because I did all cottage trips, and each cottage trip was about a 3 hours one way,
Yeah.
all of it. The 3, the Y, and the X. I took, and man, the charging, the fact, a liter right now here in Toronto is it's $1.69.9. I know it's ironic, and per liter. And if I would have taken a gas car, I went all the way up north and back, I would have spent $200 to $300 just on gas alone.
Wow.
And that would be the same price. Now get this part blew my mind away. It would have costed me the same as renting out a Model X or a Model Y.
Wow.
That's why I'm looking. I'm just like, this is a no-brainer. Why should I pay for gas? I'll just get the Tesla Model X. Don't pay little for charging. I think I paid only 40 or $50 for about almost 1,000 kilometers, and that
Damn.
was it. Yeah, I'm just like, this came the same price as a flipping like a regular Toyota because I would have paid $200 to $300 just for gas alone, and no, thank you. And I'm driving a freaking the car that will shake when it reaches 120 or 130, while the X will go to like, or the S or the 3 or Y or whatever goes to like 200, and it doesn't feel like it. So
Oh yeah. The X hits 120. It's like, all right, now we're getting going.
yeah, so that was very shocking. I'm like, oh my god, a simple Toyota rental is the same price as a flipping Model X. What's happening? What world are we living in right now?
Oh yeah. And that's good feedback too, because like that's the piece that a lot of people don't understand is the cost savings you're going to have. Now, for somebody like me who has a short commute, you're not going to see that savings as much, but you start going longer drives, longer commutes, that adds up a lot.
Yeah, even if you go for those short commutes, I mean, you still got to fill up once a week, once every 10 days. That's what
Yeah.
$100. I mean, charging at home is practically nothing. So
Oh yeah, no.
you get to save like 95%, 99% of that $100 you would have spent on gas.
Now, were you able to charge at home or did you have to charge out at the superchargers all the time?
Ah, that's a great question. So the Model Y and 3, so here's the funny thing. I rented out the Model Y and the X through Toro. I rented out the 3 through Hertz.
Okay.
It's very interesting. So the 3 and the Y, they gave me the charger. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can charge it at home, but it was only like 7 to 8 kilometers per hour. So it wasn't, but it was something. It was
Yeah,
something.
but if you're doing it overnight, then you're fine.
Exactly. Give me an extra like 200 kilometers a day. Yeah, cool. Don't have to go to superchargers for those kilometers. But the X, I didn't get the charger for that, so I had to go to superchargers for that one. And that one had to do superchargers everywhere I went. But again, I mean, superchargers compared to gas, it's freaking peanuts. It's like 80% cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Gas, man. Yeah.
And like you said, now they're making superchargers every 6 hours versus every 12. So who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, superchargers are coming out so fast now.
and they're going to continue to go faster because if they, if they continue going into more states, more countries, and you got other people joining Tesla supercharger network, I think it'll come to a point where Tesla will create new superchargers somewhere around the world every hour for
Oh
for
yeah.
a 5 year period of time or something until they can, have superchargers pretty much in every country where it's feasible for people with Teslas that can commute across the country or something.
Oh yeah. And then thinking about the fact that everybody is starting to adopt the NACS, just wondering if, either other companies or the US government's going to start funding Tesla to be like, all right, well, you're the one who's producing the best chargers. Everybody's on board with this. We need to get more chargers out there. Here's some funding.
Yeah, I if that's the case, I see no reason for that not to happen when you got Ford and GM, which is like pretty much funded by the government.
Yeah. Government motors.
Okay, you can just you're helping these guys out. Might as well we'll give you some money to do it faster in these places.
Oh yeah.
I can definitely see some like funding going towards that. We just
Oh,
need
yeah.
more, we just need a little bit more people to join the charging network, and we're good to go. I think it'll happen sooner than everyone thinks.
Oh yeah. I mean, realistically at this point, the big dogs that haven't jumped in, Toyota. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, Honda and Acura just came on. So there's really no other giant ones out there. Actually, did VW come on or no? I can't remember if they did or not.
Well, I know. Did Porsche join? Because Porsche is part of VW.
Yeah, they're part of. Oh, I mean, they technically broke away, but it's still all the same family that owns them.
Yeah, they'll join eventually. I mean, they
Oh,
kind of. Yeah, they kind of have to. I mean, if Ford joins, GM joins. I mean, VW kind of has no choice.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, sheesh. That was the experience, man. I mean, out of all the X is like by far number one.
Awesome.
No
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see if they've got one down at the delivery center. I'm gonna have to take one for a little stroll, even if it's just a test drive shortly. I'll have to take one out.
Oh yeah, it's different. It's you feel like you're sitting in a van. No, when I sat in it, I'm like, this is a flipping bus. This is not even a van. I remember saying that a couple times. Like, this is a bus, man.
Driving this tank down the road that goes 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Well, in about a year or two, you will be driving an actual tank down the road.
Oh, seriously. Just think about the punch that thing's gonna have off the line. Like that's gonna be scary.
Man, imagine that, like a Cybertruck tailgating you. That's just gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah,
but,
no thanks.
Yeah, no, but that's yeah, that's it. I mean, all 4 models. I'm very excited to see when the Cybertruck's gonna come out. I'm very excited to test drive that.
Oh, yeah.
And just overall looking for one hell of a flipping experience. Now, the one thing I didn't experience when I had these when I tested out these models is that none of them had full self driving. It was just autopilot. So I'm just like, man, it'd be nice to test drive that, try that out. But here in Canada, you can't really get it on a monthly basis. You got to pay for the full thing one shot, which is like,
oh, okay,
20,000 if you convert it to Canadian dollars. So
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good chunk. I mean, if anybody was going to have it, it would have been the X, and that's it. So
yeah. So I haven't met anyone who has FSD here in Toronto. So I don't know if whoever's watching here and viewing from Toronto and you know someone or you do have FSD, shoot me. I would love to try it.
Yes.
Don't actually shoot me, but shoot me.
Find Peggy on X and send him a DM so you can get him in his vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. So get that going because I mean I've been driving just autopilot through the 3, the Y, and the X autopilot when I was coming down from the cottage countries, and absolutely just flawless.
Nice.
Just flawless.
Yeah, I got to go visit my friend again. I was supposed to see them last weekend, but I got stuff going on, and I might be moving. So I was going to go over there because he's got the Model Y, and he's the one who lets me test it. And like every time I go there, we get to try out the newest version of FSD, and it's like 6 months between every time I go there. So I get to see the big jump in progress.
There we go. Lucky you.
Oh, yes.
Nice. You should do a review on that as well to see how or maybe if he's cool with it, you could
Oh, he is. Oh, absolutely. Like
Okay,
when I
perfect.
do it, I'm gonna have a whole video going on it
No,
while we're doing it. Oh
no,
yeah, he's
no,
cool with that.
that'll be nice. That'll be really nice. I'll be
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Very nice. All right, cool. Oh, that's nice. Oracle, thanks for letting me come on for just. I mean,
Oh
I know
yeah.
5 minutes,
Oh
but
no,
I feel
no
like
problem. Thanks for sharing, man. It was awesome to hear about your
yeah,
experiences.
dude, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, just I saw you online, like, yo, let me come on, man. Come on, let's see if it's possible. And then you said, I'm like, all right, let's go, it's happening.
Oh hell yeah. Anytime, man. You are always welcome.
Thank you so much, Oracle, and everyone, smash that like button. I'm out. See you
Thanks,
guys.
Reggie. Have a good one, man.
Take care.
So awesome. Awesome. Love having Peggy on here. Great little surprise there. Juniper, let's see. FSD had some bad news. Yeah, I believe I can't wait for FSD ambulances. They literally will change emergency medicine for the world. Seriously, the thing I look at is this is new technology, and there's always going to be issues with it. It's what happens. Elon said it early on. He expects to have issues that are going to happen. It's just natural that this is going to happen. And he is totally willing to take on any lawsuits that come out of this because he knows it's for the greater good in the end. So he doesn't want to see people die. He doesn't want to see people get injured, but he knows full well that this is going to be saving lives and it's going to make people's lives better. Emergency situations with ambulances. I look at situations like the elderly. They need to get around. They need to get to doctor's appointments. They need to get to the pharmacy, whatever it is. A lot of them don't want to be on the road. Sure, you're out there. You're so mad. Why are you old and on the road? Maybe they have to be, and they don't want to be. A lot of them are uncomfortable driving, but they've got to get places. FSD is going to be huge for that. So I'm really looking forward to having FSD coming out. And I know there's going to be a lot of pain along the way to get there. There's going to be a lot of learning curves. We're going to have some issues, but very much looking forward to what's going to be in the future. All right, I'm going to get off now. It's been an hour and a half. That was an awesome surprise by Peggy. So Peggy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you everyone for being on here. And yes, Bobby, that was dope. That was absolutely dope. That was phenomenal. Love you guys as always. Again, if anybody's looking for more information, you want my stuff on a weekly basis, I've got it there. Members, patrons, $1 a month. Totally going to give you guys as much information as possible. I also have health and fitness stuff I throw out there as well to all my patrons. So yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on here. I will see you guys later. Most likely doing a live stream again on Friday. I will keep you guys posted on that one. Just lots of things going on in my life, but I'll keep you posted. So Melissa, if you're still watching, most likely Friday at 6:30 p.m., but I'll let you know for sure. Thank you guys so much. We will see you all later. Have a great one.